Okay, I kind of want to dive in because I have a question. You know, I always like to start with a question. It's fun. So what do you guys think when you hear the word steal? Take a second, think about that. When you hear the word steal, what are you thinking about? Well, when I hear steal, I think about, this is going to sound bad, but I think about my older sister, Ava. And not in a bad way, I promise. It's actually more me stealing from her. It's kind of mutual, whatever. But when we were younger, we would always get into fights because we would steal each other's clothes. I mean, we would borrow. It ended up in my closet for 8 months. It's, I don't know how it got there. I just don't. I mean, when she would be brushing her teeth or eating breakfast, our rooms were right next to each other, and I would just work my way in there, going through her drawers a little bit. I'd find a shirt that I would like, just find some pants too. I would steal her clothes. I would try and cover it up sometimes by wearing a sweatshirt or, just anything to try and avoid that. But sometimes I would just walk my confident self right into the kitchen and just see what she would say, just see if she would even notice. And her excuse to me was always, oh, I was planning on wearing that. Girl, no, you weren't. I literally found this in the bottom drawer in the back in the corner. There's no way you were planning on wearing this exact shirt today. We would in an argument. I mean, parents would be involved. And eventually, because, I guess we love each other or whatever, we would work it out. But that's what I think of when I think of stealing. But a lot of times when we think about stealing, it's like pickpocketing or like a bank heist, a big robbery, or like breaking into a home. And that's good. I mean, that's true also. It's big crime, like jail time stuff. And we know that stealing is wrong, right? Stealing is wrong. Well, if you don't, you do now. Stealing is wrong. And that's why God commands us not to do it, right? That's what this commandment is all about. But what if there's more to this commandment than just don't steal? What if it's not about clothes or banks? What if it's actually an issue in our hearts? But before we dive into all of that, let's talk about why this commandment is here. We kind of always have been starting with that. I mean, the commandment, do not steal, is placed right after honor, the protection of life, and faithfulness. So once Moses had taught Israel how to relate to authority, protect life, and honor bodies in covenant, he now kind of turns to possession. And it's not just about what you think you own, but actually how you relate to things, how you relate to people, to power, to resources. And because Moses he understands that people who don't understand ownership will eventually justify taking and stealing. And people who justify stealing eventually hurt each other. So Moses draws that line. He says, do not steal. And like I said, it's not just petty crime. This commandment is actually about trust. Because stealing always reveals a deeper question. Do I believe God provides? Or do I believe that I have to take? Do you believe that God provides? Or do you believe that you have to take? You need to take? Because guys, our world tells us to take. It says if you want it, you should take it. If it's online, yeah, it's free, it's there. I mean, if someone has more than you, that's not fair. You should go for it. Just take it. I mean, we breathe entitlement. And instead of asking the question, does this belong to me? We actually ask, well, why shouldn't I have it? And that mindset is dangerous. Because stealing doesn't just actually start with action. Stealing starts with justification. I mean, let's listen again to how simply Moses states it. In Deuteronomy 5:19, it says, you shall not steal. This is like the third commandment that we just don't get an explanation. And that's because Israel already knows what stealing looks like. I mean, remember, they were slaves. I mean, they lived under a system that took their labor, their children, their dignity. I mean, they were robbed of everything. I mean, they know most what it feels like to be used. And that's why Moses is commanding with this, God rescued the Israelites. He rescued you from being taken. So you don't now get to become taker. And this is when stealing becomes less of a people issue and more of a God issue. Psalm 24:1 says, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." I mean, this verse is like the very foundation of this commandment. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. I mean, guys, nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean nothing ultimately belongs to you. Not your money, not your possessions, not your bodies, not your talents, not your opportunities. Nothing ultimately belongs to us. I mean, God didn't create us to be owners. He made us to be stewards. Say that word, say stewards. Stewards. Stewards is actually somebody that is entrusted with managing something that doesn't belong to them. So they take care of things. They protect and they're responsible for the things that are given to them. And we're responsible to the things that are given to us from God. And so this do not steal is actually a reminder for us to respect the ownership and the dignity of others. I mean, when we're stealing, we're believing that I deserve this. I mean, I've earned this. I need this. And when you steal, you also violate that very stewardship that I talked about by taking what God has already entrusted to somebody else. And stealing, it rejects trust. I mean, it hurts community, and it replaces our faithfulness with selfishness. And at its very core, stealing says, I don't trust God. I don't trust God to give me what I need. And let's be honest with ourselves. A lot of us hear that do not steal and think, I'm not me. Like, I'm checked out. I'm good. I don't steal. We hold on to that image of the bank robbery and the breaking into a house and the taking of wallets and pickpocketing. But none of us are planning a bank heist, right? No? Oh, gosh. Well, different discussion. But if none of us are planning a heist, then how is this commandment relevant? Well, guys, stealing is rarely like a big, loud event. Those are just the things that make the news. But most of the time, stealing actually happens quietly. I mean, and in 2026, we have learned how to make stealing and theft way less obvious. Just like a lot of us, let's just think, we all steal digitally all the time. I mean, if you're a little bit on the older side, not to call my people out, but pirating music and movies, that's a thing. I mean, plagiarizing assignments, claiming AI work as your own. Guys, I've been there. And we justify the things that are wrong because what? Everyone's doing it? I mean, it's online anyways, right? I can see it. I might as well. It's easy. But Moses would say that taking without permission is still taking. And this commandment doesn't change, even if our culture does. But let's take it a step deeper than downloads and assignments. To all my working students, I mean, staying clocked in when you're not actually working, theft. Showing up late but logging into a full shift, theft. Leaving early without reporting it, doing personal tasks during the work hours. I mean, when someone is paying for your time and you give them half of your effort, that's theft. And for not working students, don't worry, I still got you. Letting someone else do all of the group project work, copying homework instead of actually doing it, distracting the class or your friends so nobody's learning. I mean, that's not just wasting time, that's actually stealing time. And when someone else carries your responsibility, you're stealing their time. Guys, this is all theft. And don't get me started with those all-you-can-eat meals, because, guys, I know y'all be sharing those with your friends and taking them leftovers home, because I've been there. But you're not supposed to. And yeah, those water cups they would be putting your Diet Coke in, I know. You best believe that that is stealing. But underneath all of that is something even deeper. The root. And the root is entitlement. I mean, we steal because we believe we deserve more. We think that they owe us, they owe me, that life has been unfair. I deserve it. But when we really believe that we deserve more, taking does feel easier. It actually feels right. But entitlement will always steal more than your possessions. I mean, entitlement steals joy. It steals trust. It steals relationships. And we begin to live in comparison, and the people around us, they turn into obstacles in our life. They turn into resources that we can use. Like, we don't see people as human. And that is when stealing becomes a heart issue. Because theft starts when we decide that what we want matters more than someone else's dignity. Let's look at the New Testament for a second. Ephesians 4:28 says, "Anyone who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with their own hands, that they may have something to share with those in need." I mean, this verse kind of flips the narrative of our current culture. I mean, it says, stop taking, start working, and learn how to give. And guys, it's not just about stopping theft. It's more than that. It's about forming generosity in your heart. It's about changing your heart posture. And let's remember the theme of this whole series, the 10 Commandments, is about how we live as free people. And freedom, it's not just about restraint. It's about becoming a giver. I mean, slaves live with a scarcity mindset. They hold, they hoard, they grab, and they take, because they don't know if there's going to be enough tomorrow. But because we're free, we don't have to live that way. I mean, free people can be generous because we know we can stand firm on the fact that more is coming, like God will provide. And let's look at an example of this in Luke 19, the story of Zacchaeus. This was a man who learned how to become a giver. The flip literally switched in his life. So Zacchaeus, to give you a little backstory, Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and he collected taxes for the Roman Empire, which were like the bad guys. They were like controlling Israel and super mean to all the people there. I mean, he collected money from his own neighbors, and he was allowed to overcharge them as much as he wanted to make himself rich. So he did. I mean, if somebody owed Rome $100, Zacchaeus would ask him for $150. He would give Rome the 100 that they would owe, and he would take 50 for himself. I mean, it was legal, sure, but it was totally dishonest. And he built his wealth by taking from the very people that he grew up with, that he learned from, that he grew with. I mean, and in their eyes, Zacchaeus wasn't just like a greedy man. He was an evil traitor. Like, he was the worst of the worst. And that's what makes Zacchaeus' encounter with Jesus interesting to me. Because when Jesus comes to Zacchaeus' town, like there are crowds everywhere. Jesus is a popular guy. I mean, everybody wants to see him. And Zacchaeus, the Bible says, he's a short king. He can't see over all the people around him. So he decides to climb up a tree. So he climbs the sycamore tree, and just to like try and get a glimpse of Jesus as he's walking by. And so as Jesus is walking by, he actually stops. Jesus stops. He looks up, and he calls Zacchaeus by name. He literally says, Zacchaeus, come down. Get off the tree, boy. He says, I'm coming to hang out with you. I'm coming to your house. Do you have some food? Like, let's hang out. Like, Zacchaeus didn't know Jesus. They've never met. And Jesus was just like, yeah, I see you. Zacchaeus, the worst of the worst, I see you. And I'm going to hang out with you. And Jesus, he doesn't choose to lecture the evil man in front of the crowd. He doesn't shame him because of his sins. I mean, Jesus invites. And that encounter with Jesus changed Zacchaeus' life. We see Zacchaeus' response in Luke 19:8. It says, but Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, hey guys, he said, look, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay it back 4 times the amount. I mean, Zacchaeus doesn't just meet Jesus and like, cool, what a nice guy. No, he gives back 4 times the amount that he took from the people. Why? Why such the big change? Because encountering Jesus reorients ownership. I mean, Zacchaeus doesn't simply stop stealing. He actually starts restoring his community. And that is the ancient way. That's the point. The ancient way, guys, it's not taking what you can or what you want just because you can. It's trusting God enough to give and to give generously. I mean, the ancient way is choosing to be a steward. It's stewardship over entitlement. It's contentment over the comparison. It's generosity over grasping and hoarding and holding. And with this commandment, Moses is forming people that understand that what you have is a gift and not a right. What you have is a gift and a good gift, and God wants you to steward it and use it in good ways to bring him glory. And when you live that way, when you live with God as the owner and you as the steward, you don't just avoid theft. You actually experience full freedom. Because stealing always creates anxiety. But trusting God creates peace. Peace in your life and in the lives of those around you. And I know you've heard me and Matt say this 1,000 times. But it still stands the same. That this altar is never about shame. It's never about achieving. But it's always about surrendering. It's always about meeting Jesus. And I know some of you need to lay some things down tonight. Maybe you need to lay down that entitlement, that mindset that says, I deserve more than everyone else. Maybe you feel like you need to lay down comparison. Because guys, the thing is that God has given you exactly what you need in the season you're in. He's given you all of the tools. He wants you to steward it. Maybe some of you need to lay down the fear that you're never going to have enough. It's never going to be enough. I promise you it's enough. With God, it's enough. And tonight, some of you need to choose to be honest, diligence. You need to choose generosity and trust. Even when those things cost you and even when it's the harder thing to do. So if you're ready to say, God, I trust you. I trust you to provide. I don't need to take what isn't mine. The altar's open. I mean, if Jesus is calling you to meet with him, you can come. You can come now. Yeah. I know Jesus wants to guide you with the things that you have. So this is a moment right now where you can meet with him.